How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I mean, hanging in there, spend a lot of quality time inside, indoors, not really doing much.
Yeah, I definitely hear you on that. I
Yep.
definitely hear you.
Mhm.
Try to keep yourself busy and your mind uh,
Yep.
right. As much as you can.
Oh, yeah.
Cabin fever is a real thing. Uh,
Most certainly is.
yeah, it really. I never thought about how much of a cabin fever thing it, how much it is a real thing. I was always used to going home and going to work, whatever. But when you take out my gym and when you take out like just going to a simple movie theater,
Right.
those simple things that you take for granted, you really start to feel it.
Oh, yeah. The simple little creature comforts, just saying, I feel like going out getting ice cream or stopping by a friend's house, or maybe I'll go to the supermarket, pick up something different to eat tonight than what I had planned. And it's like, nah, it's really just stay inside, go outdoors every couple weeks to get supplies, and then come back, load up on a like fortress of toilet paper.
Did you get enough? Did you get enough paper?
Yeah, I've only had to buy toilet paper once because I before this all started, I invested in a bidet.
Oh,
Um, Game changing, life changing. A little difficult to get used to at first, but then all of a sudden you get right into that flow, and very little toilet paper is used, and so I think I bought like a 12 pack before this all started, and I think I'm down maybe a couple rolls.
I've heard wonderful stories of bidets. I've heard,
Oh,
you know,
so
I haven't heard a bad story yet.
I gotta get like the seat warmer one where it's just like, yep, I could just live here.
Yeah. The wonderful world of technology, what we're living in.
That's right. I mean, Stark doing it all.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone that's joining us, anyone that's going to be seeing this later on YouTube and whatnot, this man right here has been killing it for quite some time with his well-known cosplay that everyone knows has, if you've been to your local Comic-Con here and there over the years, you've probably seen different iterations of it. But this man has also been in a Marvel movie as well as a cameo. And I remember seeing it for the first time. I was like, holy crap.
No,
Like, he got this far. This man is MCTHOR. You can't tell without the makeup. This is him without,
incognito.
it's like the luchador thing. You see the man without the mask.
No.
But most famous for doing Thor, MCTHOR, and having the whole Ronald McDonald MCTHOR crew. And I take it back to, I think I first saw you here in Hartford, Connecticut, at
Yep.
Hartford Comic Con. That was my
That
first.
was,
That was my first time seeing you in person. Before the fame, and I thought it was a really dope concept, an original idea to I never would have thought of it, and it looked so good. And it was like, okay, this is a good concept. Never would have thought of it, and you killed it, and then you just kept progressing.
yeah. Was that the one with the Jerry curl?
Was that the one?
Or was this at Mohegan?
No. This was at no, because this is the first time I seen you was at Hartford Comic Con.
So the Expo Center?
Yeah,
Or
no,
the Civic Center?
yeah, the XL Center before they moved
XL
up.
Center. Yeah, so that was you saw the debut of MCTHOR. That was the first time ever it was worn.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Complete.
wow.
I stayed up 30 hours straight, because that was Saturday that I went. I stayed up 30 hours straight into Friday morning, completing and painting the rest of that, and then finally getting some sleep. So that was an interesting time, and that costume pretty much fell apart almost immediately upon entering the XL Center. Things started to fall apart and come apart, but no, it was a great time, and it was a great reception for the character that
Yeah.
I didn't know what to really expect.
Yeah, it was definitely an original. It was just an original take that I think it blew everybody away because it was just, you would never thought of it if you, out of so many things to think of, you wouldn't put those two things together. It's so distant from each other, so distant, but if it worked, it really worked. The wordplay of the whole thing really worked.
Yeah, shocking. I'm very shocked at how well it worked. I knew I kind of had something when the idea was formulated. Me and a friend were driving back from. I was visiting a friend here in California when before I moved here, and we had gone to Wizard World. Their first time in Sacramento, and we were coming home. This is when Wizard World had beer gardens.
Okay.
Which were amazing. It was a great equalizer for awkward, nervous nerds.
Yeah.
We're all just hanging out, getting a drink, and it's just like, hey, what's up? And I had been Zombie Billy Mays at the time and got a great reception for that because he had died about a year or two before that. And I was like, I want to do something different. I want to do something that is more than just putting on a different set of clothes, which Billy Mays was. And my friend was driving us back, and I was trying to think of things, and I was like, well, I don't know how to do this stuff. Like, all these people build these amazing things, and so it's like, I'm never going to win. It's like, I obviously want to get noticed a little bit. I love the reaction I got with Billy Mays, and it was trying to think of what I could do, and I was like, oh, but I want to keep my beard because I feel naked and cold without it. And we ended up just chit-chatting, and eventually I was like, oh, what about Thor? Because Dark World had just come out, and he was actually there the following day for autographs, Hemsworth. And it's like, yeah, what about this? And I was like, but everybody's doing Thor right now, and I would be the shitty Thor of the group. So I was like, what could I do? And then all of a sudden I was hungry. We were looking out on the highway, and there was a sign for McDonald's. Like, ooh, McNuggets. I was like, wait a minute. What if Ronald McDonald was Thor? And then my friend kind of looked at me real quick over and just looked back at the road and started busting out laughing. We started laughing about the concept of, like, how could that possibly be? And then, depending on how you look at heart disease and diabetes, how a hero villain was born.
Right.
And just came back to Connecticut and started working on the idea and, like, trying to figure out, okay, how would I incorporate all these ideas? And then eventually that's how the first version came about.
See. It was a dope concept, and it was one of those things where I was mad when I saw you because I was one of my most memorable, like, cosplays starting out was doing Thor, and honestly it wasn't a lot of black guys doing Thor, so it was like when people would take a picture, it was like, we ain't never seen this before. We gotta take a picture, and I had the longer hair at the time. So it wasn't a wig or nothing. So it was like, okay, he definitely stands out. We got to take pictures. It was like super fun. But that was the first time I went in that time frame where I went plain clothes. You know, I just went as a civilian, and because it was a new con, and I just wanted to see what it was like before the next day I show up and everything. Then I saw you, and I was like, oh. Dang, how sweet it could be if I was Thor right now. And I'm gonna take a picture. Dang, you know, it was just that. And I believe I do have a picture of you on my hard drive from that time frame because you know it was just I do have it because it was just a dope time and it was just a dope concept. So I definitely remember taking a picture of you in your costume. So how did you manage to keep it going so much? Like, you always keep it fresh, though. Like, it wasn't just a one-time thing. Like, you progress every time. Like, progress every time the next movie comes out and everything. And I kid you not, like, when I saw Thor in Infinity War, Endgame, and I saw him as Big Lebowski Thor, Lebowski, I literally thought, man, MCTHOR as Lebowski, like, and then he did it, and I was like, he actually did it, and I thought, and it was like two things. Wow, he looks like Big Lebowski because before they even said the joke, and then I thought of quickly, like, dang, Big Thor as Lebowski. That would have been fun. That'd be cool if he did that, and then you did it.
Yeah, definitely gotta thank Marvel and the Russo brothers for the Infinity War and Endgame saga looks for Thor and helping elevate the character to some different looks that I can play with. But how I kept it up pretty much was Hartford was extremely well received, and I was shocked. And even while I was there, I was already thinking about how can I make this better. And I was seeing people that had amazing cosplays, and I go up to them like, "Can I get a picture with you?" And then I start asking them questions like, "How did you do this? How is this so smooth?" Because I
Right.
literally knew nothing. I was cutting up a open cell yoga mat at one point, thinking, "Oh, well, that will work because it's already like the thickness I need." It's like, no, that's too soft and spongy. It won't work.
Hmm.
Um, so thinking about how to do that, and of course the costume was falling apart, so I was trying to think of like how can I also make this more comfortable, look better. And then New York Comic Con came around 2014, and I had gotten the costume much more improved to where it was, and even made pants for the first time. I learned how to sew. I actually went to Joann's, took a little sewing class. It gave me some pointers, but I learned how to make pants, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have made pants!" So I
Wow.
made these yellow pants instead of the rain suit pants that I had before,
Hmm.
and again, it looked really good. I had a lot of fun with it, and it's just the time I have with it is so much fun. Um, Makes it completely worth it because I can tell you, putting on that makeup and doing the beard red and getting all the makeup, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I saw
And
that the other day, and I was just like looking and like, how's he like not just get frustrated? Like you keep it. Well, I guess with it over time,
yeah.
it come easy to you, right? It just you
Oh yeah,
know.
it's evolved over time. I have done a lot when it comes to it. As far as refining it, ways I do it, I ask again for tips all the time. Like I was at Emerald City Comic Con a couple years ago, and there was in Cosplay Central an FX makeup booth, and I started asking them a bunch of questions. Like, here's the problems I'm having with my makeup.
Yeah.
Um, I've gotten it better over the years, but I still have these issues like smearing and everything. Like, well, what you should really do is invest in like water-based ones, and I started doing that, and it's like this is so much better. I'm glad I did this because it just stays. But yeah, keep on going and all the different looks. With every new Thor movie and Avengers movie, it was like, okay, as soon as I hear it, it's like, where's those set pictures? What does
Yeah.
the costume look like? And then like I really love Dark World's armor. So
Yeah.
I made quite a few versions of that. I think there's officially 4 versions of that armor that I made.
Oh wow.
So the first couple ones were foam wrapped in vinyl, so I can keep the costume flexible. Didn't have to worry about paint cracking and everything. But there was only so much detail and everything I can get out of it, and I wanted to, as I got through this, I wanted to get more and more detailed, showing quality of work. And then I made a foam version of it that looked phenomenal. And then I got to the point where that foam version just got beat up. It got beat up bad.
Wow.
So I eventually remade it completely and made it to where I need to make where I can have more maneuverability in this, and did some stuff around the hips and made it a lot better and easier to work with. Um, yeah, the only armor I haven't made is Ragnarok armor. Even though Ragnarok's like the best Thor movie, I did not like the armor set in that. I was like, I don't know how I would really
Yeah.
make a how I would color scheme this because all one solid color.
Yeah.
That brown that he wears, and I was like, So I kind of just skipped that one. And through the years, I've added more comfortable McThors, like McThorbowski or Bro Thor.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun to do because it's like I could be like completely comfortable in this. It's like almost
Oh
regular
yeah.
clothes. And then I did the after party for Avengers 2 Age of Ultron Thor, where they're trying to lift his hammer. He's got that big red jacket. And so it was
Yeah. Where old Barbie. What's going on, man? From Brazil. How you doing, man? It's gonna seek inspiration cosplays is very cosplays like this. They still have you as Riz hero as a secret. Yeah, man. Thank you for the words, man. Appreciate it. Um, yeah, it's a thing. You never
yeah,
know who you inspire. You just got to do it.
exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny like the way like just wearing a stupid like for me it's like this is I'm very humbled by meeting people sometimes that are really invested in what they love about the costume. They're talking to me about it. It humbles me a lot, and I am always shocked at like how much it reaches people. Like at one convention, I had a guy. I was handing out Szechuan sauce packets
Yeah.
because it had just come out. I went down to my local McDonald's. They let me buy 40 of them,
Wow.
and then I had my friend buy some in Los Angeles, and then next time we saw each other at a convention, I grabbed them from her, and I just went around handing them out. I was like, "Are you a Rick and Morty fan?" And it's like, "Okay, tell me about it." And it's like this, and it's like, "Here you go." And people were like, one guy lit up. He was like having the worst time ever, bad time in life, and just something simple like that, giving him a Szechuan sauce packet, like lifting him up.
Mm, that's funny.
And so, yeah, there's that. And then I do a lot of now those cosplay with confidence panels,
Right.
or yes, you can cosplay with confidence. Talking about like what somebody mentioned in the chat, where your weight might be judged or anything, or you might be critical of your weight, and how you look in a costume, and just like how. I mean, in the end, it doesn't matter because I am not very svelte like Thor. I am doughy in areas like a French fry or a McNugget breading. So
I hear you.
it's just aiming to see what pleasure and joy I take out of it. There's always going to be your critics, and the more you do this, for the person that mentioned it, the more you do it, the more you'll see that there's a ton more people that get extreme joy out of what you're doing than that one person that just has nothing better to do with their life than be critical of people for no reason.
You're very right. To talk to, I don't know how to pronounce his name right. Oh, Brad Bear.
Brad Bear.
I I have my car play a warrior. That'd be cool to see, bro. To talk to that guy and to this young man, and just to go off for what you're saying, you know, I just recently had a thing from last night. Just somehow a friend of mine, another cosplayer, posted a picture from Connecticut, and it has 3 Rangers, me and my Black Ranger, and it's just full of comments. Just going up, you know, the whole night it seemed like, and I kept checking back to see what people are saying every so often. But you had your good ones and your bad ones, but a lot of good positive ones and a lot of inspirational ones for myself to hear from other people that's, you know, our size or whatever, or even smaller, just being inspired, you know, and giving, you know, they got a little bit of extra oomph to, like, you know what, if he could do it, I want to do it too. I could try it, you know. They did, you know, and I've had those setbacks in the past where I was thinking maybe not, and then I like saw guys like Eric the Smoke Moran, and Night Mage, bigger guys, you know, and they done it, and I was just like, I could do it. Okay, I'm gonna try it. I definitely will try it, and then it worked, and it, you know, but I had to make sure that it was something that fit I related to, and something that fit me better, so, you know, I could be comfortable. So it's definitely a whole thing there, you know, and the whole thing, you want to try it, and hopefully you can inspire someone to do it too, because it's definitely a critical world out there. Everybody like to be critics, you know, and it's like you being able to like go past that and like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna see what happens. But I really like when I look and how I feel, and then you do it, and then it shows to other people. And I've seen that's what happens with you. Like you go out there and you have a certain type of energy when you. Okay. Like, all right. That's what happens when your room is like literally next to the street, whatever. But I've seen you go out there and like and seen everything, and like you have a certain energy with you, and it's a very cool positive energy that I think a lot of people could feel, especially you pick a character like MCTHOR, but just like McDonald's in general will make people smile when you're a kid. It's just a nostalgia factor. There's a whole lot of things there. So you doing 2 things like that and put it together, it really makes you smile because it's like McThor. Oh, I get it. And then you smile, and then like easily you have that connection with people right away. Not even just for Thor, but just McDonald's. You can not even be a Marvel DC fan or just a superhero fan type of thing, but as soon as you see Ronald McDonald, just that character that you portray in that way, it still puts a smile on somebody's face and want to take a picture. It's just like, I need to know more. It just makes me more interested. And that's what you do, and you put that energy out there. And I really admired that, and even just you adding more to the crew. Like when I saw that you actually put together the rest of the Ronald McDonald crew, but as characters of the Marvel world, and it was like, he did it again. How? So, like, why didn't I think of that? It's like you hit the nail on the head every time, dude.
Yeah, I mean, the energy thing is definitely big because of the fact that, I mean, the more positive energy you put out there, the more positive energy you're going to receive.
Right.
So it's really nice to surround myself with those people. I mean, hot and ready like Quicksilver Babe in the chat with her Crispy Witch out there, where it's just surrounding yourself with those people and you're going to have a great time with it. I mean, I go to cons obviously a lot. And some of the favorite people that I encounter are the people that just display that energy where it's like, you may not have a costume that is like this technical marvel that's going to get you all these craftsmanship awards, or you might be cosplaying the same character of 1,000 people at the convention, which people tend to be, for some reason, critical about. But there's some that just like bring a certain energy, like a Deadpool, for example, where I'll run into a Deadpool and all of a sudden it's like, wow, there's 1,000 Deadpools here, but this one stands out because he's bringing all this energy, or she's bringing whatever it might be, or this Harley Quinn, or this different idea. So it's important to surround yourself with that. And then overall, just good people. I mean, the McVengers really just took off because of the fact that I've just been able to encounter and come across really great people that I love to be around, where they get just as giddy as excited about this stupid idea as I do. Where all of a sudden we start brainstorming, where it's like it started off with, I mean, technically the first McVenger to join up with me was my sister. At New York Comic Con, she's like, I had moved to California. She lives in Delaware. And she was like, I want to be like a mini McThor. You're having so much fun. And I was like, well, you can't be McThor, but I can come up with something for you. So we made her Lady McSif, Lady McDonald's version of that. And she was like, this is so awesome and everything. And she didn't listen to my advice about footwear, so she had to ditch her footwear halfway through. But then it grew from there. Like, other people saw, I was like, wait a minute, you're getting there's other McDonald's? Like, yeah. I was like, well, I've had the idea for, like, forever. I had the idea of Colonel America, who's in the group, Wendy's Widow. And those were the two big ones I had. And originally we had an idea for the Incredible Grimace, where the Hulk was the Grimace. Yeah. But then the person that we met that wanted to kind of do that was like, nah, I'd rather do Panda Express. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So it's come about where just meeting these great people and they have ideas and we just collaborate together. And I'm pretty hands off with it, where it's like they tell me the idea and I was like, that sounds awesome, or that might need some work. Like we had, as much as I like Chick-fil-A, I love Chick-fil-A to death. It's very addictive. Their views are very counterbalanced to what we share and what we promote. So that is one franchise we probably won't have unless something changes with them. Right. As far as their stance, but no, other things come along where I remember one of my favorite ones is the Grimos, because before the movie came out, we had the idea for it because we were like, okay, Thanos is purple. And I had seen somebody make an image of this, and I was like, that should be a McVenger. That should be something we put in there. And we asked a friend, him and his wife, and we're like, yeah, we'd love for you. We knew them. We're like, we'd love for you to join because you guys are so talented and awesome people to be around. And it was like, I don't know. That's a lot of work to do stuff. And then all of a sudden they saw the movie where Quill mentions, he's like, hold up there, Grimace. And then he's like, I have to do it. And he got to work on it right away, and then that took the internet by storm for a while.
Yeah. It's just definitely a lot of great ideas flowing with all those, with everything that you guys are doing, you and rest of the McVengers. Two things. For like the ideas and stuff, because I know what it was like to face just for a little bit, doing what did I do? Like doing the eye makeup for like Green Arrow, or just a little M for Bishop. How did you manage to keep what did you use for makeup to not sweat? Because I imagine, we all touch our face or, whatnot, or just being hot and all the stuff, like, I know, did you have to go back to the, to the bathroom, touch up every few times, or what? Like, did you have a standby?
So we'll go down the fun story of how the makeup has evolved over the years, from it just being smeared on basically and just caking on and everything, to one of my fun stories and experiences with this is about makeup. And I was at my first San Diego Comic-Con, and I was walking around, and all of a sudden I walked by this booth where there's these guys dressed up kind of like a barbershop quartet.
Right.
And one guy stops and he's like, hold on one second. Come over here real quick. I was like, okay. And he's like, all of a sudden he starts looking at my makeup real close, and he's like, you don't use powder, do you? I'm like, no. He starts turning to the guy. He's like, this guy don't use powder. This guy don't use powder. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And he's like, I'm gonna tell you what you need to do, and then I'm gonna show you why you need to listen to me. So he said, like, basically all you do is take a lot of baby powder and put it in an old sock or whatever, get it all puffed up and everything, and use that to bat down your face. He's like, that will prevent sweating, smearing, everything for your white makeup. And I was like, okay. And he's like, here, this is why. He opened up his wallet, showed me a business card, introduced himself, and the name on the card and the job, it was his name on the card, and the job was corporate Ronald McDonald for 35 years. It had his date. So he was the corporate Ronald McDonald for 35 years. So I actually got tips from, like, the Ronald McDonald, basically. And I was like, okay. So after that, I started powdering. And so for the white makeup, powdering, there's very little when it comes to that. There's, like, hardly any, like, my face is perfectly fine. It does struggle in hotter climates. Like, I've been to Dragon Con where it's just humid as hell. And I've sweat a little bit there, but the makeup really doesn't run. Right. With the eye makeup, I used to use kind of, I guess, the Ben Wolf. I guess it's grease makeup. I don't know if it's grease or what it is, the Ben Nye or Ben Wolf or whatever it is. And I used to just paint black under my eyes. But the problem started becoming with that is that even with setting spray, if I, like, moved around too much with it, it would smear. It could come off. It could run a little bit. So I started having that a little bit down there, and that's when I was in Emerald City Comic-Con. I met those guys at that booth, and they showed me, and the water bases wet it up a little bit and do a couple coats, and then once it dries, it ain't going nowhere, and I just use, like, a alcohol setting spray to keep it in. And so generally with makeup, I don't have that many problems whatsoever. I used to carry, like, a little emergency kit to do touch-ups and everything, because I would see things like my first New York Comic-Con, I know I put on the wig and I hit the black eyebrow a little too much, so some of that smeared up. But I had nothing to correct it at the time. So I, at that point, just, that's pretty much how it came about, and figuring it out.
Have you ever been contacted by McDonald's Corporation? Like, have they ever, like, did you ever do your assist type of thing, or what? Like, or, hey, you want to do a commercial?
No, well, some people want to. I got some people to believe a few years ago that I was contacted by them with a cease and desist letter for an April Fool's joke. I don't know if you saw that one. But a couple years ago, I found a way to generate a fake cease and desist letter, and I posted on April Fool's Day the sad news that I couldn't cosplay MCTHOR anymore because I was getting a cease and desist letter from the McDonald's Corporation. And I guess I played it perfectly because I didn't respond to anybody that was posting and asking questions about it.
Right.
I let it sit for like 6 hours, and I had people call. My mom called me. She's like, "Can you be McThor anymore? What's going on?" And I had so many people upset, and eventually I let it out that it was a joke, and they but still, even after that, some people like came up to me months later and were like, "I can't believe, how are you doing this? I thought you had that cease and desist letter." I'm like, "That was fake."
Uh,
I had family coming to me like, "I know a lawyer that can help you with it because it's not their intellectual property or whatever. It's like fair use." And I was like, "No, that was a joke. That was an April Fool's joke." So
that's
we're
funny.
good. Sadly, I have not had McDonald's reach out to me at all.
You would, you would
I
think,
haven't even gotten free food from them. I've gone to McDonald's a couple times in the costume,
right.
and they have refused to even give me a discount or an extra nugget in my 20 piece. So very disappointing there.
You
I
literally,
even had problems buying the boxes that when I was making the McRib Breaker um, for the Stormbreaker version of it is I had to get boxes, and I went to the first McDonald's where I live, and they were like, "No," I was like, I've done this before. This is what I do. If there's boxes you can spare, if not, a lot of times they'll let me buy them. They'll charge me for like sauce packets and sell me the boxes that I need, which I don't need like a ton. And they're like, "No, we won't even sell them." And then I went to the other one on my in town, and they're like, "Well, how many like this? Yeah, here, just take them. We don't care. This is awesome." So that's the closest I got is like getting free boxes, but
how,
it's always a fun time explaining to them what I need it for.
how is it making the hammers and the the Mjolnirs and the Stormbreakers? But how hard is it? Is it how long do you usually take? Or has it taken? In
Well,
the,
McMulneer didn't take very long whatsoever. I mean, the hardest part was eating the nuggets because all it was a Mjolnir hammer from like Party City or Spirit Town or whatever they call it, Spooky Town, and I
oh,
got that, and then I just glued the McNugget boxes around it because I thought, what if I could build like a box that looks like a McNugget box as the hammer? But then I was like, no, I'll just glue the pieces on there, and it worked fantastic.
so
Um,
much bigger than the ones that you would get from the Halloween store, though. Like the Mjolnir and well, at least the Stormbreaker or whatever. Like it
oh
looked big.
well the Stormbreaker I made. So the McMillineer is just a hammer that the Thor hammer that I painted over. McMillineer, I ended up knowing that with that I would have to make that. Luckily, at the time there was a couple tutorials. There was the one from Odin of Odin
Oh,
Makes.
oh, it makes love it.
Yep, good pal of mine. He's local to me, so I get to see him often.
Uh,
Um,
uh,
and then also there was, if you're familiar with the cosplayer Pepper Monster, um, she does Thor a lot, and she does some really impressive cosplays where she's placed in like New York in the cosplay contest for New York Comic Con and everything. And IO9 had her make a Stormbreaker and do a video tutorial for it.
wow.
So I watched that religiously and downloaded the templates for it and just kept going and going and looking at like how can I make this because hers looks so legit. I'm like all I have to do is make it and then just alter the colors and glue some boxes around and eventually I came up with the decision to make the vines, the group vines look like fries and
Mm.
make a fry box underneath it and which ended up hiding the connection joint so the or so the axe can travel and then just put a quarter pounder on the back of it, quarter pounder box. I'm like, it's a hammer, so a quarter pounder makes perfect sense.
Now for someone like myself, like I'm like, well, I'm going to attempt to try to do armor this time
Mm.
for myself for a Gears of War, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna sit down. I got nothing but time now. We got nothing but
Nope.
time.
You got time. Time is on your side.
And seeing how like right now, as you know, like a lot of cons are being pushed back to next year, so it gives a lot of time to actually do more and try to venture off and try things. And one of those is me doing armor. Now with your with your armor, what did you use for for your stuff, for your cosplay? Like, what's the best thing to use for other people to know?
So this is so when I start, it depends on where you are level wise. When I started out, I was using like the floor mats, like you get from a Harbor Freight. I guess Walmart, Amazon, you get the floor mats from. And I was using that for my EVA foam because at that time there wasn't a lot of other foams available. There wasn't like there is now because,
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, right now for me, I still have floor mat foam, but those are usually my proof of concept and testing pieces because they're so cheap compared to the other foam.
Is that the one, like the little, like they're kind of like Lego type of mats?
Yeah, like the puzzle pieces, and it's
Right, okay.
smooth on one side, texture on the other. It's usually you just use as an anti-fatigue mat, so you can put in a garage or something like that. So for me, I use that a lot for in the beginning, and you could get it in larger rolls also. That would have like that diamond grid on one side.
Right.
But the consistency of that foam for me, it started to get to the point where I was caring more about detail. And the consistency isn't there with the foam, like some of it's pop marked. Like sometimes I get 2 rolls from Harbor Freight, and they're both different kind of colors, which is weird. Or like one is beat up compared to the other. So the consistency there. So now I pretty much, for my builds, I'm pretty much exclusively using HD foam from SKA Props, which you can find at Blix Art Supply online, because one, it's really good foam. It cuts really nice. It sands really smooth.
Right.
And the fact that it's a light gray means I don't have to use a silver Sharpie, because before that I was using both the Yaya Han foam
and
the TNT foam. Both great quality foams, just that it sucks with the silver markers the silver Sharpies, because they run out so quickly.
Right.
But this great one, it's really good. I've used it. I've been really happy with the quality of it, and it's super simple to get, especially now, because all I gotta do, because Blix usually they'll ship it free if you order over $35 worth of it.
Right. Wow.
Which, if you're ordering foam, you're ordering more than $35 worth usually. So, it's really good. And then the maker of it, what he's done is he SK Props. He is a cosplayer and a fabricator. So he helped formulate it based upon the things that he knew that were issues with foam, where it's like, okay, I want this to be different about it. And then he helped the manufacturers chemically balance it or whatever to make it better. So I use that a lot. I'll still use the other stuff because, example, the Yaya Han foam is really good in a pinch because it's local and it's still good quality. And as long as it's not on sale and you've got that 40 to 60% off coupon from Joann's, you're in good shape. With that, and there's a variety of thicknesses there. The TNT stuff, I still have some of it. I'm still using it, but once I run out, I may not order again because I have other stuff that I like better than it, and it's not easier to get it there. At that point, there's not a lot of benefits to ordering from them than others. But my advice is, if you're starting out, because you will make mistakes usually, unless you're like my friend who's like a god, because his first time building looked better than anything I ever did. Where I was like, man, just screw you, man. I'm like, that's your first build? In the beginning, like when I made that first Thor, when I made my Batman, armored Batman from the comic book, and some other things, I end up most of the time building 2 versions of the costume. I'd start building one, and I'd be making mistakes along the way and start chasing those mistakes, and then just get to the point where it's like, this is too much, and then just restart over because I knew where all the mistakes were and how to correct them already, and so the second set would come out beautiful.
Right.
There's very few things I've built that, except for recently my Crocky bot that I built, that only took 1 shot. For the most part, except for the legs. The legs were a challenge. But no, but mostly everything was, pretty much floor mats. So I advise starting off with floor mats.
Right.
Invest in your X-Acto knife, your utility blades, your box cutter, whatever. Get some extra blades, and then get a sharpener. Because I didn't know this in the beginning, and this is why my original Thor took so long and the work on it looks so um, rough for the first McThor is because that foam will dull out that blade really quick.
Oh wow,
Then all
really?
of a sudden, you'll cut through once, and it's like butter. And then as you keep going, all of a sudden, it starts fighting you to cut through, where it's like it's not sharp anymore. So your choices are either to switch out your blade to another blade, and then you're just like snapping blades off left and right,
Mhm.
or you can get a sharpener. Like there's a Crenshaw tool, I guess it's called. I found it on from Evil Ted. Little tool about the size of a butter knife, and then it's got a sharpening part on it, and you sharpen the blade against it, and all of a sudden that blade that was getting stuck and caught just cuts like a hot knife through butter at that point until it starts getting eaten up again, and then you just sharpen it again.
That's really good and helpful for not just me, for anybody else that's going to see this. Um, Now you've done other cosplays.
Uh,
Do you have anything coming up next though? I mean, I know you did. You know, you.
oh, oh God, I always have something coming. It's the question. Like I haven't worked on anything in a while because I'm starting to come out of that rut and realization that this is the year that wasn't.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so things on deck that are being worked on. I have Black Manta, which I have all cut out. I just need to glue. I have to glue them together, then redo them because it's a Pepakura file, and there's a lot of unnecessary seams there to glue up. So I'm going to glue together what's currently there and then repattern it from what's made to make that Black Manta. So there's Black Manta. I've got a Black Mask, Roman Sionis from the Birds of Prey movie.
Right.
Where I've got the suit. I bought the suit, and I commissioned a friend that was in here earlier to do the embroidering on it to look like his suit, and she did that, and it was phenomenal. That was gonna, and she made the gloves for me that even say RBS.
Ah, okay.
So she even got those done for me, like custom made gloves and everything. Where lesson to those out there, you don't have to make everything by yourself. I
No,
mean, sometimes it's okay to commission and have other people make stuff for you. Give them credit where credit's due. Don't claim that you made them. But like for me, I don't know how to do it. Could I learn how to do it? Most certainly. But I looked at the cost analysis, and plus I knew my friend did really good work, and I was like, here, you do really great work. Can you do this in time? And they're like, yeah, I can. It's okay. Here's my money. Take it, like Fry would say, or shut up and take my money. So Black Mask, Taskmaster from the new Black Widow. That was I've got that all ready to. I've got all the stuff I need to start making it. I just haven't started yet. I also have there's a Beast Boy because my girlfriend wants to do a Raven, and so I've got a Beast Boy that's coming along. There's also an Avatar group I'm a part of where we're doing from the cartoon, not the actual movie.
right.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
I wish I could be Appa and Yip Yip, but that's a little too much there. So I'm going to be Uncle Iroh
Nice.
with
Nice.
my teeth. So I love that choice. So I'm doing that with that group, and then a couple things that are in rebuild mode that I want to redo that I really like was my Armored Batman, not the one from the Batman vs. Superman movie, but the one from Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns comic series back in the 80s.
Deep cuts.
Where that, like for me, it was just so awesome was watching Batman beat up Superman and just showing that he could and just outsmarting him and using his tech. So I want to do that suit over again. The first one was rough. It was the first time I had ever done a costume without a template that was already pre-made, where I just had to like eyeball it and try to figure it out by myself. And then I did that a second time, and it came out much, much better, but still had issues. So I've got more work to do on that. Where I want to do that over again. And then there's my Skelevator. I really want to redo Skelevator, do proper by it because The first one I did, the helmet was a smaller helmet than what is actually normally used, and I
Right.
actually got like the David Prowse, like the official one from Star Wars, from Lucasfilms or whatever it is, and I
Nice.
repainted that. So I've got that skeleton. I've got the helmet done. I just have to remake all the other parts for it, which in theory shouldn't be too hard. It involves making a new suit for it. Um, but yeah, with that one, I really look forward to doing that over again. I've also got a Buff Rick and Buff Summer cosplay group um, that I have where I'll be Buff Rick and my friend Summer, and
That is awesome.
her husband's probably going to dress up as Mr. Needful.
Oh man, that's awesome.
We got speakers, Bluetooth speakers that are small, that are the same colors as their shorts,
Yeah.
and we're just going to play the DMX song the whole entire time. And we were going to wear that for Dragon Con, just start like kicking people.
Yeah.
Not literally kicking people, but it's like, oh hell no, and just get that loop.
Awesome. Oh my gosh.
There's that, and then I actually want to do a regular Skeletor.
Hmm.
And then what else is on the list?
It's
Optimus
good to
Prime.
back out too. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that on Netflix because Netflix tends to do put some good stuff out there. I just actually watched the final season of She-Ra.
okay.
That was really good, and that shocked me because when that first got advertised, I was like, the animation on this looks awful. This looks. I want it to look more real, like back in the day. It's like nope. And then I watched it. I was like, no, the storytelling and everything is really good with this, and it's really well done. I can care less about the animation at this point.
Yeah, it's
Um,
a story that really gets you to keep watching. You know.
and that reminds me, I also have a Hordak that I want to do from that show. Because I already have a friend that does Entrapta. My girlfriend does Mermista. Because she has the Mermista mannerisms as far as like the
Um.
um,
What now? Before we go, I just want to know what what does your family think of all that you've done so far? Like, how did you manage? Well, the two part actually. What did your family think of what you've been doing so far in the cosplay world? And how do you manage the real world and the cosplay world? How did you manage it?
yeah. So for part one with the family, they've been really they've been very supportive. I'm blessed to have parents and siblings and the rest of the family that are really supportive and um, see this for what it is. It's a avenue of fun. Um, my dad and my mom like to tell people that I'm McThor. Whenever they hear somebody talking about a Comic Con or a comic convention or Thor or the Avengers, like, oh, my son, and like, do you know this? It's like, yeah, that's my son. And so they're very proud of it. My sisters think it's awesome. My oldest of my younger sisters who did the McSiff with me, obviously she's really into it. And then outside family that knows about it, they just get a laugh out of it, which is part of what the costume's supposed to be. Is like just get a good chuckle out of it. They don't like think it's weird. They don't talk to me like, oh, it's weird that you dress up and go to conventions. It's just like, yeah, this is what you have fun with, and it's a fun thing. Nobody's getting hurt. Nothing's happening to anybody. So why criticize it? As far as the real world goes, it's been interesting with work at times. I've had 2 jobs during this. I used to work for AT&T, and for a lot of them, they knew about it. They didn't talk about it much, and it was like, oh, this is funny. And then, but my Samsung job, they can't stop talking about it whenever I get introduced. Like if we're on a conference call, and it's like the first one we had was like, tell us something unique about yourself. And I was like, yeah, this is me. Go Google McThor. And like they're like, that's hilarious. And like, is that you? It's like, yeah. It's like all of them. Like, yeah, all of those are me. It's just different versions I've done. And some of them have quizzed about it and everything. I actually I work as an account manager now, so I have different accounts I deal with. And there was one account that I went to, and the guy's like, tell me if this is okay to ask you about or anything. Or I hope you don't get mad. He's like, I want to ask you about MCTHOR. It's like, is it okay that I know about? Like, yeah, I'm like, it's perfectly fine that you know that this is what I do. It's like, it's no secret.
Right.
It's just funny, and for that, it's funny. For a lot of people, they just get a kick out of it. The only people that aren't as amused but still amused are those that have fear of clowns.
Yes. Yes. True. I understand.
But most of them get over it.
Well, as soon as they meet you, of course, they like, oh, so bad, I guess, you're not like Pennywise at all. Definitely
No.
not, where can people find you, man? Like, where can people, at you and whatnot? I'll put the links into, down below.
Yeah, so people can find me on Instagram as MCTHOR Cosplay. You can also find me as, I think it's the real MCTHOR on Twitter, because somebody already had MCTHOR.
Okay.
It's so weird to amount of people that have MCTHOR already. I'm on Facebook as MCTHOR. So you can find me in those places. Instagram's the one I check the most, so just find me on here as MCTHOR Cosplay. I haven't been as active lately with everything going on, but plan to kick that up pretty soon. Hopefully start posting some more and really just engaging with people again now that I've kind of settled into this new normal.
Right. The new normal. I'd like to say thank you, man. Thank you so much for coming by to the Power Chat. You're on my list for the Power Chat anyway, and it was just like, I saw you the other day online. I was like, oh, I can ask him now. Let me just see. You're definitely on my list for people I wanted to talk to on this show and get some insight and just, pick your brain a little bit. And I think you can help a lot of folks out today, and me out especially. I learned some stuff. Definitely going to look into some of the SK foam. I definitely will. Definitely. So thank you again for coming by. Thank you everyone who's been sticking around and listening to us chat and whatnot and learning some new things as well. And if you're seeing this now, you're seeing this later on YouTube or whatnot. Thank you so much for watching. This is another fun, awesome, epic, fun Power Chat with myself, Brandon, right here, otherwise known as MCTHOR, otherwise. Just like to say thank you so much again. Thank you everyone for watching. This is another episode of Power Chat. Once again, link in the description below for all your informational needs. And we're just going to go. Thank you, sir. Thank you everyone.
Thank you for having us.
See you guys later. Peace.